To say that in the summer of 2003, when you converted to Islam, you were coming from a godless society into the world of God. You were moving from non-religion into religion, rather than moving from Christianity into Islam.
No, I was moving from one religion to another, but I actually left the Church of England first before I became a Muslim, and that was over the siege of the Nativity, when Israeli soldiers were firing on what essentially was the birthplace of Christ. And as far as Christians were concerned, this is one of the holiest places in Christendom. And there the Israeli soldiers had no respect for it, and there was a statue of the Virgin Mary above the church, and they riddled that statue with bullets. Nothing behind it, you know. It was just,
serious?
It was just target practice. And it was
nothing happened.
And nothing happened. The Pope broke silence first and said, this is despicable. The Church of England, which is the church that I belong to, said and did nothing. And I was so furious, and I thought, if my church leaders cannot even stand up and defend the birthplace of Christianity, then why on earth would they even stand to defend me? You know, I am nothing. And I just thought, I don't need to be in this gutless, spineless organisation. And I left. And I walked away from the Church of England. I wrote about it. It upset the Archbishop of Canterbury, the head of the, cleric-wise, the head of the church.
This is 2001?
This was 2002 or 3. 2003, I think.
2003.
And I just thought, you know, I don't need to go to a church and pray through some priest to speak to God. You know, at least with Islam, I can have dialect straight away. And what I loved also about Islam is that I can draw a line in the sand, and that is my mosque. That is my place of prayer. I don't need a great big fancy building or some priest with fine garments and ceremonial robes to tell me how to pray. And it's that simplicity about
when you
Islam.
came back and appreciated Taliban, that it treated you decently, and then subsequently when you converted to Islam, many people were extremely unhappy. Some people brought the concept of the Stockholm Syndrome. They said you had fallen in love, or there was a bonding relationship between you and your captors. Well,
they were all very handsome young men, but I was terrified of them the whole time. And I certainly didn't bond with them. I spat at them, I swore at them, I refused to cooperate with them.
Very myopic about everything in the world that wasn't Catholic.
I learned that in my history class. I didn't learn that in my religion
Well, we had
class.
church history. Okay, I went to Catholic school. We had church history. It was a subject that we took every day. It was the history of the Catholic Church. In that history book, they talked about the Muslims doing the worst things in the world to people. And I think, well, I don't even think, I happen to know that it was the other way around.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Hi.
Hi.
I'd like to have your comments on a particular verse in the Quran that has to do with the status of women. And I'm not asking this in a negative way. It's just a little hard for me to interpret. And that is Surah 4, verse 34, that speaks about if the woman is, well, the wife is rebellious against God, there's sort of a chain of things that the husband has the right to do. And the literal translation, at any rate, for the last one is to beat her. And I run into a little trouble understanding that verse, and I'd like to hear what you had to say about it.
Well, from what I understand about that verse, it's not that he takes his wife and just starts beating her. We're talking about a couple here who are having a definite problem, and she's doing some pretty lewd things. Okay, to really disgrace possibly him and his family. Now, he's supposed to reprimand her nicely the first time. Okay? The second time, I mean, if she still goes on like that, obviously she doesn't have much regard for this husband anyways. Well, the second thing he's supposed to do is not be very affectionate with her. And then you have to wait a certain period of time, and then I think the third stage is, and the word is not beat. It's kind of like, let's see, how would I describe that word? Oh, you hit somebody with a handkerchief or something? Something very, very small. I mean, you don't really slap her or cause any harm to her. It's just kind of like...
yeah, it's maswak, actually, a toothbrush, maswak.
Oh, well, they don't know what miswak is, but you know, it's you take a handkerchief and hit somebody with it. I mean, I do that to my kids out of joking. I mean, they don't go off, taking me to court. But what it is, more than anything, it's like, God saying that in a marriage, it's considered a very sacred thing. And I think when you reach that stage where, you're talking about this problem for months on end, I mean, if the woman's just not going to listen, or he's not even going to listen to his wife, I mean, then I guess you would part ways. I mean, there's just no point of pulling on like that. But there's no such thing as a beating of the wife in the Quran. I mean, no way. Yes.
Hi. I was just wondering if you could please tell me, does your husband practice Muslim with you?